All right, it's time for a first. We don't get to do this very often, you know. It's like new hardware and new consoles and all this other cycle stuff is 5-7 years and all this other stuff. But we've got a first here for you today. It's our first quick look, unfinished here. We've got the PlayStation VR in the building along with Highwire Games. How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Great. Thanks for coming out. So Golem is the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you guys have been showing this off.
Golem.
Sorry.
Let's stay on message here.
Yeah. Golem is the bad guy in Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Golem is the game from Highwire.
Sorry.
Golem.
Yes.
Golem.
Golem.
Yes.
All right. So you're making Golem for PlayStation VR.
Mm-hmm.
You showed it off back at PSX. We've got your customized dev kit. Now, will the googly eyes come with the game? Is that something
We're
like
pushing
pack-in?
for that.
Is
We're
it a
pushing
pre-order
for that.
bonus sort of thing?
I think it should be a Highwire pack-in.
Yeah, they keep
Yeah.
telling us, no, the hardware is almost final. We can't add googly eyes, and we keep
You should really keep
writing
pushing on
campaign.
that. So Brad played the game back at the PlayStation Experience.
Yep.
We're going to have him go into the world. What's it been like, you guys, like making a game in VR? Like, what have been the challenges with this stuff?
It's what hasn't been a challenge. I mean, it's a brand new piece of hardware. It's a brand new medium. And
Did you say it's a new paradigm?
I would say
Have we shifted? Okay, good.
Sort of
All right.
shift.
That's thankfully. I've been waiting for a real paradigm shift for a good long time.
And so we have to go back and reset kind of our expectations, especially from a design perspective, all the way back to the beginning. Like, we don't even know how to move you around or how to do the most basic kind of game mechanics that we've taken for granted for years.
Right.
And I imagine, like, you know, audio is probably a big deal with that stuff too. Are you starting to make like baseline assumptions, like we're expecting someone to be wearing headphones, so we can kind of do, you know, like tune for headphone audio?
Yeah, we are tuning for headphone audio, although we also have audio that comes out of the speakers, and because we go back and forth in our game, it's actually a nice transition. But the best thing for me as an audio designer is that I'm going to finally know exactly where your ears are in real space.
Right.
So when we place things in 3D space, it's very accurate for the first time because we know where your ears are, not just where you're sitting.
Right. Yeah. I guess before it's been like, you know, okay, well, do you have a home theater? Or do you have like just a mono speaker sitting over on the side?
Right.
And, you know, like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Marty was obviously part of Halo 1 and the great...
A big part of it.
Yeah.
One of the biggest. Iconic music.
Oh, there you go.
You know, honestly,
There you go.
and the Xbox, the
let's talk
original...
about the Flintstones. Let's get into it. And really,
Well,
You promised me we would not talk about the Flintstones.
But I guess
you were saying.
I guess that was like when 5.1 audio became
Exactly, Brad. Thank
right, in
you.
video
Yes.
games.
But that's still just guessing. You know, it's still just trying to simulate 3D audio.
Right.
Whereas now, we know, you know, to the millimeter where your ears are, and we can very, very accurately give you that audio experience.
Cool.
I don't think people will want to play without headphones, frankly.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it's like with all the other console games with not VR, you're still looking at a window in front of you, and then even though the audio surrounds you, it's an illusion because you're only seeing through this window. But hey, the rocket just exploded behind you.
There's been
in 5.1 that works, but it's now you're actually truly surrounded.
Even in 5.1,
visually.
sometimes, like, it seems from game to game that stuff could be so strange. Where, like, you know, it's like, hey, the footsteps are coming out of your rear speakers.
no,
I'm like, why would you do that? Well,
Yeah.
anyway,
Because they weren't paying attention.
Exactly. We could go on at length about footsteps in the rear speakers. But, so let's talk about the game itself. Where did this premise come from? What did you just start with?
Sure. So we started almost 2 years ago, actually, with some prototypes. Just going back to square one, doing everything from scratch, and
What did you do? 17 different pitches?
yeah,
Like just out of the blue.
yeah.
You
When
just
we
sent
had
us stuff.
we had a lot of pitches, and this was the one that really got the most traction, both inside the team and then interest from you know, publishers as well. So the premise of Golem is you play as this adventurous kid in sort of a low fantasy world. So, you know, there's not like dragons and magic or anything. And you're injured, like seriously injured in an accident. And because of that injury, you're confined to your bed. So at the beginning of the game, you actually are stuck in your room. You'll see once you play, there's like crutches in front of you. She's really contained, but she's still adventurous. She still wants to break free, and so she eventually learns that she has this ability to control golems. And golems are these kind of stone creatures of various sizes that she can send out into the world. And when she starts, she's actually controlling this like 6-inch doll in her room. And so you'll see that at the beginning. You'll be like very close to the ground, and her small bedroom feels like an auditorium. But as she grows in power and gets kind of more abilities and bring back more loot, then she gets the ability to control much larger and much kind of more powerful giants.
Cool. Well, let's get into the game, but we should probably preface this by saying, like, so this is getting spit out to a TV, and it's like the social screen on PlayStation VR, which is what they're calling it, it's not like full resolution, right? So there'll be some things that like it's not going to look like an HD.
Yeah, this is not.
It'll be knocked down a little bit,
not full 1080
not full width.
Yeah,
not exactly what you're seeing in here is what I understand.
And so one of the reasons why so many developers they hesitate to show a VR game like this because they're smarter than us.
Yes, absolutely.
and they realize that the experience that you're getting when the world is enveloping you is just impossible to translate. So what's happening is the screen that Brad will be seeing is getting undistorted and cut down, and the resolution is even smaller than 720, pumped out through your capture system. Like it's a copy of a copy of a copy.
We've
and
got
then
9 chains of cables all over this room.
And then streamed out to the internet, and compressed. Yeah. So this is
it's perfect.
this is just a hint of what's going on, and but we don't really, the headsets are not out there yet. We don't really have any options. So rather than just keep telling people to wait and they have to try it for themselves and wait and try it for themselves, I think it's kind of fun to watch somebody else play and at least see their.
I enjoyed those trailers that Sony put out where you had the Iron Man look.
Right.
It's like, well, that was just cool because it's like it's never going to be that way.
Some actor's face with just a glow in front of them, like.
So you're gonna make some really great faces. When we're recording you.
Yeah, sure. All right, so let's strap Brad in, with that caveat for the folks at home.
You want to shoot me putting this thing on?
All right.
Stretch it.
Okay, I put it on.
And right there you go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, great. And then I'm just gonna hand you one move controller. We're only using one move because we figure we have your face and your eyes and your ears and both hands. It's just like too much. You can't adjust anything at that point.
So is he supposed to be headphones?
Yeah, do we want to?
Okay, yeah, we are actually all going to put on headphones here, and we'll be able to hear each other and the game.
Ooh.
So
I don't think we have headphones.
is there no?
But that's okay. We know what's out. Well, I'll do mouth noises for the sound effects.
I think if you guys can hear the games, especially
make
Brad.
sure that we can. Okay, well, I'm going to give Brad headphones then. I guess I realize he can't grab for them himself because he can't see.
Can't see anything but a giant Highwire.
Okay,
you can do
headphones coming on.
All right.
Which is why it's good that you're seated in our.
I'm in.
You don't want to be walking around. That's the reaction we're looking for.
We actually have a policy at Highwire which is like, don't mess with somebody that's wearing the headset.
Yeah.
Oh, what fun is that?
I imagine that must have been really fun for about a week, and then you realize this is actually super messed up and dangerous.
Well, and it's mutually assured destruction, right? Because you're gonna have that set on too at some point.
Escalates.
Yeah, you'll get what's coming to you.
Yeah. So
you end up with a headset covered in mayonnaise for some reason. It's all going.
It's a fireable offense at Highwire to poke somebody.
I figure that's going to actually end up being like, in early days, the videos. I mean, I'm sure that some of it's out there already with just like dev kits and stuff, but like the early days will be YouTube videos of people like getting fucked with while wearing.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, there's a part where there's some flying bugs, and when I like to just brush people's cheeks.
Yeah, that counts. That policy extends anywhere Highwire goes. Okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and start the demo here. And like I said before, we're going to start you in your room. You can kind of look around and see.
Wait, music's playing.
Can't talk over
that. It's decorated like you'd expect a kind of a 14-year-old's room.
Whoop. Oh, I didn't.
Oh, that's all right. So
no.
What you've done here is you have calibrated. So now.
That's me. Hi,
yes.
No, wait, come back.
You fell off the shelf.
You walked forward and fell off the shelf. So this is you in the bed, and you kind of see that your in-game character is mimicking your actions. That's then broadcast to the golem, and so the golem, in this case, a doll. It's all very complicated.
It's heady stuff.
Yeah,
Inception.
and I think you guys are the ones that sort of started using that phrase, VR Inception for our game.
Oh, is that where it came from?
Yeah. So Brad is already a little bit familiar with the controls from December, so he's already moving around and stuff. But
It's you tilt the head to move around?
yeah, we call it the incline controls.
Okay.
Because we have to brand everything.
It's actually, you can almost from your waist a little bit instead of just the head, because you can use your head just to turn around, but it's almost like the center of gravity changes like when you walk.
Yeah, so when we were looking at kind of how to do locomotion, which is the big VR problem everybody's trying to solve.
Right.
We didn't want to do something with a gamepad because that's too close to traditional games.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do something where you're walking around because Marty will trip you and you'll fall into your coffee table and die.
Fair enough.
It's too dangerous. So we had to really go back all the way to the basics and try to figure out how can we move around and how do we move around in the real world. And in the real world, if you want to step forward, you lean forward a little bit.
Yeah.
And so in this case, you can lean forward, sideways, you can even back up, just like in real life. So once you feel like you're familiar with the controls, you can actually head underneath your bed. So kind of take a left at the pillow.
Right at the table.
You get like GPS for this?
Yeah, and head toward that side table with the candle on it. So you discover that you can actually escape from your room
Oh, hello.
and go
Oh.
You're going to go down there eventually.
to other parts.
Oh, you just recalibrated.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so actually what happens is,
Do I want to go down here or under the bed?
no, go ahead and go to the right of the basket there and
okay.
underneath the table, and you'll kind of head
okay.
down. Head down. There's an easier path. That's our environment team doing a little foreshadowing. And you escape from your room and you send your dolls out into the world.
Cool.
Oh, God. No! No, thank you.
I was going to say, that's making me uncomfortable, and I'm not even wearing the headset, so...
We have had people totally fine playing the game, totally comfortable moving around, run into the bug and say, nope, not doing it.
Never putting one of these on again?
Yeah.
Thanks!
Oh, wow.
So this is sort of a new part of the demo you haven't seen. So basically you work your way into the house, you head out into the backyard, and things that would be no problem for a 14-year-old when you're 6 inches tall are a little bit more intimidating. So, this is just a little sand pit in her backyard with some bugs in it, but to you it feels like a canyon with these giant sort of monsters. Another thing that is just impossible to get across in 2D is the sense of scale.
Right.
Because, on a 2D surface, something large and something small rendered at the same size appear exactly the same. But when you have your, sort of stereo
Depth
vision,
and-
it feels like this immense kind of canyon.
Yeah, the scale has really been one of the, I think, more impressive things about a lot of the different VR stuff over the past year or so, as it comes to market, is that sense of just like, this is really big, like, or I am really small in this space.
Yeah,
like,
the sensation of being in like a big cavernous space is really severe sometimes.
Yeah, and this is, it's an anthill, but you're crawling down inside of it.
Great.
Oh, yes.
That's funny. I didn't know this about you guys. Is discovering phobias.
One time, my dad, we were out walking around. He had a shotgun. And he put it into an anthill and just pulled the trigger. And it rained ants for a while. And don't get me wrong, it was awesome. But
Yeah.
Is this safe?
the
I don't know about
aftermath.
Yeah, we won't let you fall.
this. Oh my goodness.
But there's the bugs.
Yeah, so another thing that you're probably both experiencing is the 3D audio right now of like the bugs kind of close to your ear and getting all up in your hair.
Yeah. It just became spiderweb season around these parts. I opened my garage door, walked out, take out the trash before I drove into the office, walked right into a spiderweb. I'm like, all right, spring is here, I guess.
Yeah.
I still want to brush his cheek when he's next to me.
Good thing he's on the other side of Jamie.
So you want to always be 6 inches tall. eventually you'll gain more power, gain more abilities, and take over a 20-foot tall giant with an enormous sword.
Yeah.
We're spending.
Yes. Kill all
Kill all the
Yes.
golems.
I actually just want to sit here and look at the sword for
Yeah, I like that
Go
too.
ahead.
So for this part of the demo, I'm going to scoot back a little bit, so I do not lose.
This is total 1-to-1 sword combat.
Yeah. So we've actually spent a lot of time on our complete first-person body. So if you look down, you can see, you've got your
Oh, cool.
feet, and
Yeah, wow.
it's all one-to-one movement, and that creates a really great sense of presence. Instead of having floating hands in the world,
Right.
it's like, no, this is
Oh,
attached
boy.
to my shoulder.
Yeah, it seems like different developers are kind
Yep.
of taking different approaches with that. There are some full bodies, some not.
Yeah.
From game to game. So.
It's
Get
a
'em.
tough problem. Hit him
There
back.
you go.
I'm not sure if he was vulnerable or not.
Yeah, so this combat demo, it's still kind of early in our melee combat.
Oh, and that's really
Yeah,
not
he
good.
lost
pinned
the
your
tracking.
sword there. It actually got stuck in his armpit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
Clunk.
So this is kind of based on like a punch-out style, like defend yourself and then counterattack.
Yeah.
But my ambition is to push more towards something like a Dark Souls.
Cool.
Where
Yeah.
the combat it's not very fast. It's not like Twitch-based. But if you don't learn what you're doing and be patient and careful, you're
Yeah.
just gonna get destroyed.
Do you feel like it'd be hard to, because if you think about something like Dark Souls, the wind-up of your weapon is such a big part of that. And when
Yeah.
you're moving it, however fast your hand can move, that becomes a very different thing, right?
Which is actually why we're not. We are, especially we're in the Golem. We are kind of slowing things
Okay,
down a
all
little
right,
bit.
okay.
So if you do just whip it around, your hand in
not
the
gonna-
game won't move
Okay.
quite as much.
Yeah.
So you do have to take sort of more
Cool.
slower swings and stuff. And again, that's something that people kind of have to learn to adapt to. And once they do, then they just don't try to do the crazy version.
Right.
It's funny too because just watching it, it seems like it's obvious to us what the golem is about to do. But when you're actually holding a sword and fighting him, it freaks you out.
It's a very different thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah, and this is so
There
this
you
is
go.
this is our GDC demo, and we've been giving this to you guys and also to the Vancouver Times
Oh, sure,
guy
right.
who's-
Oh,
who's
that's never done it
really a
before and
gamer.
doesn't even play games. Yeah.
And
yeah.
so if we played it at full speed, like those guys would just get destroyed and wouldn't have any fun.
Wait, that
Yeah.
wasn't the Vancouver Times.
The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
I'm from Vancouver. I know there's no Vancouver Times.
Music.
Music. Okay.
Although everything sounds pretty soft in the headphones, but anyway. There you go. Nicely done.
Yeah, that was a great demo.
Cool.
We're going to drag you back over to
Yeah.
GDC.
Yeah.
You can man the station.
Good.
I can take a break.
Yeah. Sweet. Get these newspaper guys over here and show
Yeah.
them how it goes.
Yeah, right.
Finally live the life of a game developer.
Only for a day, though.
No, do that like 100 more times.
There you
and then
go.
you've lived the life of a
Right.
game developer.
Yeah. But still look like you're struggling. Still look like
Yeah.
it's a challenge. Like, oh, I gotta get him. What do I gotta do next? Get a whole script and then just do it over and over again for the rest of for 9 months straight. Right.
You guys, this kind of setup is so much more enjoyable.
So I probably can't do it from here because
Yeah, you're
I'm the
not
regular
able to
off with
see,
the
yeah.
camera stuff, but I do want to try it at some point.
And we'll be here, as long as you want. So we can
Yeah.
play it after.
And then, so are you shooting for launch?
We are shooting for launch.
Yeah.
It's tricky because this is Highwire's first game. Like the people working on it, I've known Marty for 20 years.
You've been
We've worked
around.
together forever.
Yeah.
But as a studio, this is our first game. So we're building the studio. We're also building the team. We're also building a game. And so we're shooting for launch window, I think is what we're saying.
Cool. So, I mean, that seems like it seems like they've positioned it well. Like, coming out right around the holidays and stuff like that. Seems like it'll, there'll be maybe some VR buzz from the other headsets that are coming to market, and then by the time this happens, maybe it'll be at a fever pitch or something. We'll see.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I think. So they announced the price,
Right.
And I think it's sort of a two-edged sword because it's like, wow, that's so much cheaper, but is it like cheaper?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But we found that this holds its own as a VR experience. It's right up there. With the best
I'm
ones
sure
you
you
have.
can like nitpick specs between this thing and like the Rift and the Vive. Like I told they're higher resolution or whatever, but like this feels like VR. You were in a space and it feels like you're moving around.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a
you get-
compromised experience.
Such a great reason to have the move.
Right. Yeah. Finally, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
I bought one of those things and I've never opened it.
Don't sell
It's
it.
still in the box.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
The batteries in that thing
box.
are probably dead from just sitting in the box, by the way. It's not replaceable batteries.
Put it
Crap.
on eBay because I think they're going for a lot now.
Yeah.
Suddenly the price went up.
Well,
They'll
more.
have to bring those things back to market
Oh,
and bundle
absolutely.
them and do all that stuff,
absolutely.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's the same with the camera. I think there were some early people going like, why isn't the camera there? It's like, because they sold millions of them at launch to people that wanted to stream on Twitch. So
Yeah, exactly.
So are you guys, is this going to be, I'm sorry, I feel like I should know this, but is this exclusively for PlayStation VR? Are you guys looking at the other stuff?
Yeah, it's PlayStation VR exclusive. I mean, we're actually working with Sony very closely.
All right. Okay. I thought that was the case, and
Yeah,
just double check.
way back in, I mean, it seems like forever ago, but I think it was only like maybe 18 months ago. We actually had the first VR Morpheus kit, they called them at the time, in Seattle, and we started, messing with it and trying to figure stuff out. And we're using Unreal as well, and so we started trying to run it in Unreal, and we, it's very early. We immediately ran into problems, and so we logged onto Unreal's DevNet, and we're like, "Hey, we have a Morpheus, and we're having problems." And like within
You got a Morpheus?
6 hours,
We're coming out. We want to hang
exactly.
out.
It's like, can we get a demo? Do you want a demo? What you doing? Like, can we look at your code? You
Can we
need
just
help?
come over here and hang out?
Yeah. So there's definitely. It also means that we run into every obstacle like full on. But
Yes.
but there's a lot of support and help to get us there.
And I'm sure the tools have probably come a long way over that time too. So,
Absolutely. I mean, even the headset has improved dramatically since the first version that we got.
Can you say how many headsets have you guys been through, or how many revisions
Oh
since,
boy,
since those early days?
a dozen at least.
Wow.
I mean, they're really good about, because they know that we're working on a launch title, and we're kind of one of their sort of flagship titles. They're really good about, as soon as they have a new one, sending it out. I'm not nearly as good about sending them back once they try to recall them. But
I mean, you gotta build a cool museum
Yes.
of prototype VR.
Hollow-heads.
Yeah, man, you have to save all that stuff, and hopefully they just forget about them. And
No, they don't.
they don't. Okay.
No, the emails get closer and closer together.
Japan comes calling one way or the other.
exactly.
They know.
Yeah.
They're
tracking us.
Sometimes we can walk off with something, but that's.
That's what we'll say. A giant bomb took the one.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened.
Well, what happened to
No,
it?
those
You can't
guys.
trust those guys.
Yeah, no, they already know they can't trust us. All right. Well, Golem is the game. It's out in the launch window. Thanks so much for coming by, you guys. How's the show been? Have people been super receptive to VR? Or have you encountered any people that have just been like, no,
Of course.
it's not for me?
Of course, but I mean, we encountered people when we were like, "Hey, Halo is a first-person shooter on console." We had people go, "No."
Plus, a lot of people.
That'll never
Mouse
work.
and keyboard. Trust me. Trust me.
A lot of people are really excited about the Kickstarter for the soundtrack that's coming out. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Nice, nice. I trained you well, Marty.
Wow.
Yeah, thefirststreamer.com. Is that what you're talking about?
That's the
man.
one.
Oh,
It's the musical prequel to Golem.
All right.
Large comical hook comes out. Pulls you away.
Well, thanks again for coming by. And we'll look forward to seeing more when it's out.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Thanks. We'll be back.
Thanks.